Okay, today we're going to take off the apron. That's going to entail some cap head screws down here, some unscrewing of things and driving some pins out. And I'm going to have to plug the power back in, I think, because I'm going to need to rotate these shafts where I can access the skinnier side of the pin to be driven out. So I'm going to have to bump it a few times, I guess. So this plate is definitely going to have to come off the top of the gearbox. And what I'm concerned about is this shaft. The top shaft is the directional. And it lies under this plate. And I'll bring you over here. So I'm going to need to disengage it from the gear that moves it this way, which is what? Which is the lever, not that end. And as I pull it out, a few things are going to happen. I'm going to have to take this, let me bring the camera over here for it. You move these straps out of the way. Okay. Okay, so this is the shaft. This is a boss that's kind of holding it. This here is the shaft going into the headstock. So I'm going to go actuate it and have you take a look at that as it actuates, as it moves. And you're going to be looking right here. And this is reverse, and that's forward, and nothing's happening. Why isn't that even engaged? It's almost like I already took something apart. Oh, I know what I did. I see this collar here? I've moved that collar, so I should be able to tighten this up, which sets that. You'll remember that when you put it back together. Now we're watching right here. So there's reverse and there's forward. So there's some threads or gears on the shaft, and then this is a rectangle piece with maybe 6 or 7 gears on it. So if it was circular, it'd be a gear all the way around, but it is a segment of a gear. So actually, now that I think about it, I want to be able to just pull the shaft straight out of there. And am I going to disengage this gear from the shaft? Just loosening up this set screw, pushing this piece over, and it'll free it up. Now, we had you watching this. Here's reverse. Now watch this. It's neutral, forward. So that's turning that shaft in there and switching that lever, that shifting fork, the one which I failed to tighten up 2 set screws on. And reassembling next time. Now I'm going to get rid of this tube, this oil tube, pull right out there. Oh, come on now. You can actually stay right there. Yeah, we'll just pull that out of the way when we need to get to it. We might as well make room here. So let's move this. Just need to get something thin enough we're not going to waste any more time on this. Let's get this thing. Is that really holding it up still? No way. Okay, we're going to go to brass drift. We'll put this set screw here. There we go, there's that one. Okay, now that shaft is free, it'll pull right. This is a four start thread inside this collar, and it'll just twist out. That collar with the 4 start threads will pull out, and we'll have a good look at that. So let's come down here to the other end. Well, let's stay. Well, yeah, let's go down. Let's stay here. I need to get the machine turning so I can get this, drive this pin out. Now, what pin is that? That is the drive pin, which I just, back with the gears, because I just disengaged that. Maybe I can get away with it. Let's turn everything on, plug everything in. Give me a minute.
1/8 of an inch. So we'll just do a little test cut.
Okay, bear with me. This filming while working is, I really don't have the hang of it yet, I would say. I know I need to grab one tool out here real quick. I just saw it. My tools are kind of in mayhem because, well, moving my toolbox, number one, and I also chose this time to rearrange some of the drawers in my, so I don't know where anything's at. So while you were gone, I took out 2, 4, 5 cap head screws which hold this plate to the gearbox. Okay, now to access this one and this one, I had to remove this, which connects the clutch lever here. Well, trust me, it goes from down here to here, and it's hooked up to this. So I don't remember if I have to do anything extraordinary here or not. Boy, that wants to work now, just no questions asked. Okay, I know I tightened these screws up way too tight when I put this thing back together. This also has a couple locating pins on it, a couple dowels. So, removing 2 cap head screws here. This is the clutch assembly linkage. The linkage running up to here. I think I can get away with not punching that pin through. If I remember right, I didn't need to do that in the first place. So let's just leave that tapered pin in place. Okay, let's swing down here to the end. And I know you all know what that looks like down there. This basically captures all 4 of these rods. And I have 1 screw left holding this stuff. And if I could reach over again. So with that screw, I'm going to push this clutch linkage in. Removing this, I should have picked a different one to leave in. One that was a little easier to get to. You know, this definitely needs a wobbler. I need a wobbler on that. So and it's almost loose enough to do it this way. Let me grab this. Okay, I got this set up here. Well, what was that? Oh, that was probably a shim. Take a little bit of weight off of that. It might come out a little easier. Believe me, 90% of the work is already done. I definitely should have left one of the easier to access screws in there. Hell, I might be free. There's another shim come out. There we go. So I now have that disconnected. I've got a pin I need to drive out, and I can take this member off. So let me pause you. Okay, that started back up. So I got this tapered pin. And we're going to put that right there. put some sand that in. Might be something there. Now this should just slide off. There we go. So here's that screw, and here is an adjustment screw for setting the distance. This is one of the shims they had used. I need to investigate the oil passages here because I don't think I'm getting oil down to this spot. Here I have a passage, but nothing on the bottom. If that bottom one's the clutch, that's no trouble because it's not powered. Okay, so we're loose here. Let's go see what's happening on this end. Okay, we're rolling. We're rolling. 5 seconds. Let me turn the fan off. Okay, it's been about an hour since I talked to you last. There's some room here for me to travel around. So let's go down to this end. Removing the apron from the Pratt Whitney Model B 12 by 30. Okay, so there's 3 cabinet screws that hold this piece on and capture all these rods. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we release that. We got the weight of the apron on the hoist. It's on the hoist. Now we come over here. Let me light the screen up so I can see what you see. And that brings us down here. And the direction lever shaft with the gears in it ran through here, It ran through this block here. This is a 4-thread screw, and there is a set screw in there. And let's get that lined up so I can have the right, put it in the right place on the way back. So let's turn this till I see the hole. Okay, no hole there. Maybe I'll do this later. Is there a hole in there? Yes, there is, right there. We got to get the side that has threads. So you have to release this set screw here. Okay, I'll find a happier spot for that later. So that just, so you'll take that set screw out and that's still floating on the shaft. And at that point, you can simply pull the shaft out. And that would be right here. See, I'm hitting my fire extinguisher down there. Okay, so that leaves us with the lead screw and the feed screw. And if you look down in here, you can see 2 different journals here and here. They're brass, okay? So all we need to do is pull this out and get this plate off of those journals. And at that point, we should be free. So I'm going to go find a pry tool. Okay, of course that's a tool that I can't find. So I'm going to raise this thing up a little bit. And I got this meat cleaver from 1972. And we are free. We are also heavy. So okay, I need to bring the apron down a little more central. But I can't show you I was wrong. It wasn't on that brass. That's simply placed in there. And we'll line up with a gear. Okay, let me get that apron down here in a more central area. The shafts, get some balance going on here. Okay. I'm not sure why I can't move the apron down. So what I'm going to do is just lower this down on these milk crates. And when I get it bench-wise, I will figure out how to get that. Okay. Down a little more, there we go. It seems to me that the first time I did this, not knowing anything, went a lot smoother. Let's get this out of the way. Now, I know I was carrying this thing around, at least from, I had to have carried this into the other room. So God knows how I did that. Some feat of superhuman strength. Okay, so now we have the apron removed. Now wait till you see the back of it. And someone mentioned that I was doing a little better job tutorial-wise this time. And I don't know if I lived up to that today. But The apron is off. There's 5 cap head screws holding this plate to the gearbox. Okay, there was this collar inside the gearbox that was connected to the directional feed rod, which is right here with the gears on it, top rod. And that set screw had to be loosened up so that that shaft could be pulled free. In the meantime, we had 3 cap head screws down at the end of the lathe. They were capturing the 4 rods. I'm trying to get the screen to light up here. Okay. So that was capturing the 4 rods. So once we take those off and pull that off, that end is free. These simply just pull straight out. There is this hole here, and that lines up on this shaft here. Now inside here is a gear that switches you from feed to screw. So that would either engage this one, which is feed, or this one, which is screw. And you can see these things are offset about the width of a gear. Those 2 gears are here and here. This is what switched the gears. And that simply will come right out of there. Like that. And I will leave anything I can in place. I'll probably leave this lever in place as well, and that's not going to go back in its home unless it's got the gear with it. There we go. Okay, so 5 cap head screws, the set screw and the threaded collar. Pull the direction shaft free all the way out. This is already loose. Support the weight. Basically, when you're prying this off, you're prying it off this shaft here. That's the only thing holding all this, is just this shaft. That shaft is, all the change gears are on that shaft. I guess you'll call those change gears. Okay, we are going to wrap this up, and you know how my wrap-ups are. We could be here for another half hour. It's probably the longest segment of the video. Oh, okay, we got that off. Hopefully I explained everything. I think I have probably over-explained it. So let's let that alone. Let's talk about the crane, okay? I did actually drill an extra hole in this pipe to get it to extend even further, okay? Didn't help. Like with these outriggers extended, I cannot get that chain over the center point of the headstock. So here's my thinking. Here's the outriggers. So I pull both pins out. I move this outrigger up to this hole, or possibly this hole, and have it come down off the back. And that might put it kind of, in the line Let me get back here. Okay. So that would take this outrigger and put it in a line possibly like this, or possibly like this. In any matter, once I got this going back this direction, I can link these two together with a bar or a pipe drilled through it. Tying off from here now, and running a cable down to the floor to an anchor, and having this anchored to the floor right here, keeping it from tipping forward, and then allow me to get right up to the machine. And I'm not taking that headstock off unless I can bring it straight up and put it back down in a very controlled fashion. That is the key. If I can't bring that thing back down in a controlled manner, it's just chaos otherwise, so I won't do it. Next, well, I'm almost sure you have to. Next is going to be I don't want to call them the back gears. Let's call them the gears in the back of the lathe. Let's see if I perchance have this loose. If I do, and the camera's actually mounted to it, so hang with me a minute. Okay, when we come back, we will be removing all these drive gears. Let's call them drive gears. We'll be removing this plate, and that'll give us access to a few more gears. Forward feed, or I think reverse feed, basically. And then we'll be removing the entire gearbox, minus the electrical box. So we'll, that might take 2 videos. We might get it done in 1. All the work here was done off camera, and I was just able to, you know, leave it just hanging there so I could pop it off for you at the very end. But you don't want to watch me sweating and cussing and reaching and using unconventional tools, and you know, it's not pretty. Okay guys, I hope this is going to be helpful to anybody who ever wants to take their lathe apart, or if they want to take their Pratt Whitney apart. But all these things are built very similar, and if I can take this thing apart and put it back together, so can you. And the putting it back together part is really quite simple, because it can only go back together one way. That's the way they built the things. You know what we're going to do next video? I'm sorry. Forget those gears in that gearbox. We're going to take an examination of the inside of the apron, because that is the, at least it was, the big mystery for me. My first time around. Or I could refer you to those videos, I guess, because it is documented. The paint was kind of chipped here in the shape of gear teeth, and I'm thinking, those gear teeth are erratic, but oh, my gear teeth are down here. And she looks different, doesn't she? Alright guys, I'm going to put this one together and try to get it out tonight. We're at 1:17 in the morning. Make this place safe and bring the little dogs out and get things ready for bed. Thanks, guys.